Hey everybody, it's Safi and Marco Dish Out on Movies, the only movie review show on YouTube to review movies in terms of food. And it's just Marco here to review The Suicide Squad, the newest movie to come out. It just came out. I just watched it. It came out early on HBO Max. I like that because I hate it how with some movies on these streaming places we gotta stay up late. With some of them, like with Netflix, they say it'll be on there that next day, and then it's like 6 o'clock in the morning and it's still not on there. And then it's like, oh, it comes on. And I hate that. I despise that. And instead, they released it early so that everyone who's home and who wants to watch it, they can watch it and they can enjoy their evening watching this masterful film. A spoiler alert, I fucking love this movie. And I am not afraid to say that. I loved it. Everything about it, basically. I knew it was going to be good because you got James Gunn, you got all these talented actors. It looked fun. It's like it's rated R, so they're actually letting, it's a movie made for adults. It's colorful. It's actually got, guys, did you know that there's colors in the world? Like I almost thought the world was black and white thanks to all these movies nowadays. Like the Zack Snyder's Justice League, for example, how ugly and colorless and dull that movie looks. All these movies nowadays, not to pick on that one in particular, wink wink, but just all these colorless, ugly, depressing slogs movies. And then you got the Suicide Squad that just comes in your face with color and just doesn't apologize. Fantastic film. So let's start off from the beginning with the other Suicide Squad, because I've never done a video about the other Suicide Squad. To be honest, I have never watched the other Suicide Squad fully. You know why? Because I saw the trailer for that movie and knew it was going to be garbage. I saw a trailer that looked stupid. It just did not look good. It looked like they were disguising a bad film with clever editing and clever music choices. And of course, you got Harley Quinn's ass, which is a hard thing. You know what? That part of the movie I liked, because they definitely nailed her sexuality, I guess. You could say that's a positive thing. Ding! One little positive thing for Suicide Squad. Ugh. And then I tried watching it, and I was like, oh God, I'm not going to be able to watch this crap. And I turned it off, like, I think it was after, what was that guy's name? The shooting guy, played by Will Smith. He does a little gun range thing. I turned it off right after that. Like, I could not stand to watch that movie. And I was kind of not enthused about having another Suicide Squad after that movie. I thought, maybe it was just the idea to begin with was not very good. Maybe the comics, like, oh, that's kind of dumb, this idea. But then this movie proved me wrong in every way possible. This movie was so refreshing. It was so, honestly, you know what the one word that I could describe this movie that I would use? And it's going to surprise you guys. I mean, out of all the words that anyone could think of, you know what I'm going to say? This movie was inspirational. And I won't elaborate any more on that because that's not what this video is about. But let's just say this movie was very inspirational. That was the number one thing that I came out of this movie feeling. Inspiration. Just a huge inspiration this movie was. And, you can see James Gunn, his roots in Troma. You can see Troma through this whole movie. And you can see Marvel in this movie. You can see everything James has ever done in film. All the things. You can see influences from everywhere. And just, it's like the perfect embodiment of his filmmaking style and him as a filmmaker and what he's capable of. And, I love the fact that the SJWs tried to cancel him for making edgy jokes on Twitter years and years ago. Sorry about that one. And then DC said, hey, James, we don't believe in that stupid babyish shit. Get over here, buddy. Make the Suicide Squad. You're going to come over here since Marvel was going to let you go, quote unquote. And then, of course, they got him back because they knew they'd done fucked up big time. And I just love that. The fact that he was going to be canceled for making jokes. And then DC got him. They made the correct decision. And look what we got. This is what we got. In a world where James had been canceled, we wouldn't have gotten any Suicide Squad movie this year. We would have gotten some shitty other DC movie. Like, I don't know. I don't even want to think about the other dimensions where, like, ew. That is a sad world. A world where this movie doesn't exist. Because, here's the thing. The movie does have flaws. Because I'm not going to get into spoilers. I've been so used to getting into spoilers lately. Because I've done these TV show reviews. And, when you review the episodes, you just get into spoilers automatically. But it does have its flaws. And some of the flaws that I knew that they would be flaws from the beginning. But they weren't that big of a deal, honestly. Like, one of them was Harley Quinn. And now I mentioned Harley Quinn's sexuality in Suicide Squad. Well, she is very beautiful in this movie. She is, she's Harley Quinn. She's Margot Robbie. She's hot. But kind of, it felt like Harley's sexuality was sucked out of the movie. It felt like, in fact, there was really kind of no female sexuality at all. It felt like the only sexuality was the guys. Like, I know that there was like some naked women in the back of the nightclub, whatever, but they're just there for like 1 second. But then you got like these lingering shots of John Cena, and he's just in his underwear, and it's like, really? Like, if you can do one side, you can do the other. You know what I mean? Like, this movie's rated R. He could do whatever the fuck he wanted to do. And I felt like it was sort of a sad choice that he had, like, 100% male type of stuff in this movie, but he didn't really have any female sexuality. And I know that that's like a weird thing to pick on, but it just comes naturally, like what I thought. Like, it's something I can overlook, but that's something that the other Suicide Squad has over this a little bit. But still, it's not a big deal. Who cares? Whatever. Throw that out the window. And then what else did I have a problem with? Well, not really anything. Sorry. I know that's disappointing. Marco, the jerk YouTube critic reviewer who just picks on everyone and everything and, roasts everything and everyone. But I watched this movie and I just loved every second of it. I just felt so, and I just felt so much enjoyment. Like, wow, Hollywood can actually make movies nowadays. Like, movies, movies without SJW agendas, without, BS representation type agendas that ruin everything that comes out nowadays. Hollywood is still capable of making film. And it just shows it's all about who's in charge. And I hope that the people who are in charge take note of this movie. And I hope that people go out and support this movie. Because I really think that everyone would like more of this. Like, it doesn't matter, because I know that some people didn't like some of the comedy in this movie, obviously, because they just wanted something serious and ultra dark and everything. I felt like the comedy was well balanced, actually. I was really worried about that, and I was, like, kind of worried, like, uh-oh, like, is this movie just gonna be like Guardians of the Galaxy but with a little bit of violence? But no, it's actually very violent. It's very adult, and it's great. And so I would say that the comedy is fine. And also, I know that in the trailer review, for some reason I thought that the nightclub scene was a red flag. And to me, when I saw that scene, it felt like a scene, like a cliche one, where all the heroes have done a hard day's work of fighting, and then they're having fun in a nightclub. Like, that's the vibe that I got from the trailer, and and it wasn't like that in the movie. And so I was glad about that, because I was like, I was a little worried that that scene, about that scene, for some weird odd reason, like, just that scene stood out to me. I don't know why. And in terms of the Suicide Squad, let's talk about the good things. The just more good things, I mean, because we've already talked about just how this movie is just amazing. Uh, Wait, I did have a flaw with Harley Quinn, another one with her. Uh, I know that sounds bad, but I'll get to it in spoilers. It really wasn't that big of a deal, obviously, or else I wouldn't say that this is a perfect movie, but it is a perfect movie, and I can overlook all the little tiny flaws here and there. But the thing that this movie really did well, out of everything, was it made you really care about these characters. Like, I never would have expected to care about these characters. Like Bloodsport, who's Bloodsport? It's fucking Idris Elba. So that's already like thumbs up for me. And just his character's amazing. I loved his character. He was so likable. He was such a great protagonist. And then you got like Ratcatcher. She was awesome. She was, she was really good. Like, and then the King Shark. Talk about a standout character. King Shark was amazing. He was just so good. And who else? Polka Dot Man. Polka Dot Man might have been my favorite. Like, that's how much I liked him. He was such a... It just shows you can't blame anything, because you got all the control. And look what you did. You got Polka Dot Man, some goofy comic character that no one cared about. Everyone made fun of him. You look up top 10 worst Batman villains, top 10 worst DC villains, Polka Dot Man, Tie-Dye Man, Calculator Man. That's not an excuse. You take that villain and you make him work. And you write him so that he actually works as a character. And it was so amazing how they made him work as a character. He was so good. And as I said, this movie was great. And on top of that, too, the action. The action was really, really good. There was a scene near the beginning that was probably it might be my favorite action sequence, just because it was so fun. And it felt like such a cool, like, almost like just something just too much, like too comical to be happening. And I'll talk about that in the spoilers, because I don't want to give anything away and ruin it for people. So now I'd like to rate this movie in terms of food, and also the music was good. He's done it again with the music, having great music choices. I would say that the music in this movie fit better with the movie than any of the music in either Guardians movie. I wasn't really a huge fan of some of the music in both of those, but I still thought that it served its purpose in both movies. But with this movie, it really does fit, and I love the music. So, what could I rate this movie to show you guys how much I like it? Well, I'm just going to give this... Oh, yeah, and I'll talk about John Cena and the spoilers, because he was also a surprise since Well, I'll talk about that in the spoilers. I'm going to give this movie the greatest grade that I give movies that I like. Whenever I give a movie this grade... Oh, shit, there's a spider on me. Sorry. But whenever I give this grade, it is always a huge stamp of approval and just a sign that, like, this is a perfect film and one that I would put up there with my favorite films. Maybe. I don't know about that yet. I'll have to think about it. It has to sit with me. I'm not going to be, a reactionary type who says, oh, this is the greatest movie of all time. Like, people did that with Infinity War and shit. And I'll say something else, too. This movie is the best comic book movie I've seen in a long time. A long time. I just got through torturing myself watching Wokey Loki. Wokey as in woke. And, oh, God, that was torture. And you compare and contrast that with this movie, it is like night and day. So I give this movie, you know what I'm going to give it. Come on. You know by now if you've watched this channel. I give this movie a big-ass plate of spaghetti and meatballs. That is the perfect grade a film can achieve. I mean, spaghetti is the perfect food. It's my favorite food. I love spaghetti. I could just eat spaghetti all day, every day. And this movie is a damn good plate of spaghetti. And you know what else? The little cherry on top, you got that Parmesan cheese. Shake that Parmesan cheese all over the spaghetti, and it gets melting in with the butter and the luscious tomato meat sauce. And you take a big bite of that, and that is this movie. So now let's get to spoilers. And now, first off, oh shit, I forgot another thing I wanted to talk about before spoilers. Shit. Starro, the villain. I love Starro, the villain. He was at it. I don't know what gender it was. I guess it's a he. It was really, really good. I loved Starro, and I thought that he was a great villain. And, I was worried, honestly, from the trailer. I was a little worried about him being the villain. But it actually really, really worked. And it was a lot more Troma influence to me. It just felt like pure Troma. Troma with a budget. That's what it felt like. And honestly, even if you took away the budget for this movie and took away the talented actors like Margot Robbie and, Peter Capaldi, even if you took away these actors and took away the budget and just stripped this movie of its parts, it would have still been a great movie. That's how good this movie was. And another thing, now we're getting into spoiler territory. John Cena, aka Peacemaker, he was fantastic. He was really good. And there's a certain point in the movie where he becomes the villain of the team. Like he's the one who double crosses the team, and he doesn't want this information to leak out, and he's gonna kill the whole team basically to stop it. And he's really evil, and you can just it was like watching evil Captain America. It was really, really cool. And just that sequence with him going back and forth with Captain Rick Flag. Rick Flag was a joke in Suicide Squad 2016. That stupid line, "This is my girlfriend." What was her name? "This is Katana. She's got my back. I wouldn't want to get killed by her because her sword traps the souls of its victims." Like, what a fucking joke. And he's really good in this movie. I forgot about him talking about great standout characters. And him and Peacemaker going back and forth, that was amazing. And my favorite sequence, though, might have been Peacemaker and Bloodsport near the beginning. Them going back and forth in that little village of freedom fighters, them killing them in like these different ways, and just like, oh look, I killed someone like that. Oh look, I killed someone faster than you. I killed someone grosser than you. Like, that was just amazing. It was just so unbelievable, but so amazing. And then to find out, I love that too, the subversion of usually that's how it is in these types of action movies. You go to a foreign place and you go into a little village of foreign people and you kill them all. I mean, that's literally what happens in these action movies. And then to find out you just killed all these freedom fighters, like, that was amazing. That was hilarious. And, oh yeah, the thing I didn't like with Harley Quinn, women fight differently than men in some ways, and in this action sequence where she basically rescues herself, it reminded me a lot of Charlie's Angels with Drew Barrymore fighting everyone in that place where she was being held. That's what it reminded me of, honestly, that sequence in Charlie's Angels. And that was cool because that's one of my favorite movies as well, Charlie's Angels, the 2000s version. But there was some really unrealistic moments with her fighting. Like, she picks up this like 200-pound man with her legs. Like, she's really, really skinny. And she picks him up and cracks his neck, even though she's got like... And I'm wondering, is it possible to do that if you're like that skinny, like if you're that small? I don't know. There was a lot of unrealistic stuff in that sequence with her fighting, and I kind of wish that her fighting would have been more tailored to her. Like, I didn't really feel like her fighting style was unique enough to her, and I really wanted to like that sequence because I like the whole movie, but still, that was a standout thing that I thought was a little lesser than the rest of the movie. And just everything with her, the way that, her story is, she gets captured and then this dictator wants to marry her, and I thought that was funny. But I don't know. I preferred it when she got with the team finally, and they all were in the city together doing stuff together. I thought that was where the movie got really, really good. And then they have this stupid thing with her schizophrenia, where it's like she's turning the world around her into flowers, and it was really gay. It was really queer, as she's like running and like everything's turning into flowers, and I was kind of like, what? That was kind of a fail, and I was glad that wasn't in the rest of the movie, basically, and so we didn't have to see any more cringeworthy stuff like that with her, because that was a little weird. I really didn't want to see any more of that, whatever that was supposed to be. But yeah, other than that, the ending was great, of course. I loved how they worked together as a team, and I loved how Amanda Waller was really evil in this movie, and she, I was glad that they took her out momentarily, although I kind of feel like in real life that she would have had all those people put to death or something. Like, she would have had those people be tortured and executed and just erased from history or something, because she was so evil, and it was hard to believe that she would let that go. And at the end, she like puts them in charge of Task Force X and working with Peacemaker, and then they're going to have a Peacemaker series, which I'm really excited for, because I'll tell you something. John Cena was a mixed bag as an actor. I don't like it when these these wrestlers try to become actors because it's not their fault. It's the fault of the filmmakers. Like, oh, you're a wrestler. We're gonna put you in that movie, and it's just gonna be all about your brand, and your brand is selling this stupid movie. And like, like with Dave Bautista and My Spy. Remember that? Ugh! God, I can't believe I watched that movie for you guys. Oh my God. But John Cena, he was a very mixed bag in his other movies. I just saw Bumblebee this year. That was like torture. That was like literally like being tortured. I've had a fingernail torn off before. Having that fingernail torn off was a better experience than watching Bumblebee with John Cena. And then he was in this one called The Wall, I think, where he was like trapped behind this like wall with I think Aaron Taylor Johnson, and they're fighting with this sniper who ends up killing both of them. So the whole movie's a waste of time. And I just spoiled that movie. Well, no one liked the movie anyway, so who cares? But I never really liked John Cena as an actor. And then he had that whole cringeworthy thing where he was apologizing to China or Taiwan or whatever. That was really cringeworthy. And so he really needed to redeem himself from all of this embarrassment and this cringe. And he did. I can say that confidently. He really redeemed himself as an actor. I can say after this movie, I want more John Cena. I want more of him, whether it be Peacemaker, whether it be any other thing. As long as it's good. And it's not just some stupid movie where it's like, hey, we need a known actor to make this movie work. Let's get a wrestler. Just fill in any wrestler you can think of. You know what I mean? So anyways, wow, long video. If you guys like this video, give it a thumbs up, comment, tell me what you thought of The Suicide Squad, because I know that there are some Debbie Downers who didn't like it for some reason. I don't really care, because, and I don't really want to, like, go back and forth and argue about it being good. I'd still like to know if you didn't like it, why you didn't, but I'm not going to fight you about it because, you're not going to change my mind at all. It's rare where someone changes my mind in regard to films, especially. And also, please subscribe to our channel for more movie reviews, TV show reviews, all that crap. Goodbye, everybody. See you soon.